Late one Saturday night, 3 friends and myself were sitting around a table at the Templeton, a diner nestled along the cinemas, sex shops, and XXX video stores along the seedy side of Granville Street in downtown Vancouver. My friends began to discuss religion, and that led us to talking about the Pentecostal church, which made us ponder the finer points of speaking in tongues and condemnation. I was so bored with this discussion, I was willing to say almost anything to change the subject. I was worried I was going to faint face down into my burger and fries from boredom. And I was willing to say almost anything. I have the best religion in the world, I declared to my friends. Their heads popped up, and they were all looking at me now. And I knew I had their attention for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and I better say something good, or else we will spend the rest of the night in purgatory. I have the best religion in the world, and it is called flamenco. You can be the most evil person in the world, or the most pious person in the world. In flamenco, it doesn't matter. As long as you do whatever it is you do, passionately. 8 years ago, I walked into a dance class, thinking I would spice up a dull routine with an amusing hobby. As I plunged down the rabbit hole like Alice in Wonderland, I found myself looking through a keyhole into a fantastical world where dancers wear colorful clothes, garish earrings, and stomp their feet in fast rhythmic patterns, and fast energetic moves with sudden pauses of eerie stillness that were even more compelling than the dancing. Oh, how I wished I could drink a magic potion and join them in that garden of splendor, but alas, before I could learn to dance, I had to learn to stand up. Upright, shoulders down, chest up, suck your tummy in, chin up, and squeeze your hindside muscles. Don't forget to breathe. So many things to remember, and I haven't even begun to move. In flamenco, you're supposed to move with intensity as if you're moving through thick liquid. Yet, you are supposed to exude an air of confidence as if it was completely easy. The first of many contradictions that my rational mind couldn't reconcile. Be powerful, but don't let it look labored. Follow the rhythm, but make it look spontaneous. Make loud noises with your feet, but hover elegantly across the stage as if you're a feather. And things only got harder a few years later once I learned the basics. I remember my first dance class in Seville, Spain. The dance teacher walked in and plopped a whole bunch of footwork that the rest of us were supposed to imitate. I did my best to imitate her footwork. The teacher stopped the class, stomped over to my direction, and asked me, "Are you disabled?" "No, I'm not disabled." "Why aren't you moving your hands?" I haven't learned the footwork yet." No. You should be always moving your hands. You should be doing it automatically." Okay. Again, the teacher stopped the class and looked at me and asked me why I wasn't doing the floreos, which are the stylistic hand movements. And again, she told me that I should be doing them all the time, automatically. This went on and on throughout the class. Why aren't you moving your shoulders? Why aren't you moving your torso? Why are you doing the florets all in one direction? On and on and on. By the end of the class, I was doing my best to follow the routine. The teacher was looking at me like so, and then she began to laugh. And she said, "Now you're doing everything just right, but you're not listening to the music. Do you think the music will wait for you?" Ha 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 ha. See, if I was more Spanish and more in touch with my feelings, this is the point where I would go, "Why are you picking on me? There's other people in this class." But I'm not Spanish. I'm a tough Iraqi girl. So I wait until I go home and I'm all by myself. And then I begin to cry. Why don't you just give up and stop dancing? I would imagine the Cheshire Cat saying to me with his annoying smile. Why didn't I give up? It would have been the perfectly logical thing to do. But if religion is logical, you wouldn't need faith to believe in it. And there was nothing logical about my pursuit. In traditional religions, you're supposed to rely on your faith, you know, the invisible guy in the sky, because the dude has a plan and somehow everything will work out in the end. Well, I wish I could rely on that, but I do know that in flamenco I don't have to suppress any of my feelings. Anger, bitterness, happiness, joy. I don't have to suppress a thing. Well, maybe for stage fright, but everything else is allowed to come out. So when I feel too full, like I can't take it anymore, I just dance and dance and dance and let it all come out. Technique took years and hard work to acquire, only to realize that strong technique doesn't really matter in flamenco. What really matters in flamenco is the strength of your expression. Duende is the Spanish word for it. It's hard to translate or explain, but it's a sense of earthiness, an awareness of death, and a dash of the diabolical, all mixed together. The Duende resurrects an old gypsy spirit from the Andalusia region of Spain that comes to remind you of the limitations of your intelligence. It comes to tell you that you will end up dead, buried, and eaten by worms, and commands you to live in this moment and create a spine-chilling performance that nobody will ever forget. The Duende lives in the sad notes and stories of darkness and suffering. Forget about style or charm, the old gypsy spirit says. Come over here and engage me in hand-to-hand combat. I've been lucky enough to see performances which were like that. The intensity was so high, it felt almost unbearable. It sees not only the performer, but also the audience. Performances like that broke my heart and transported me to different worlds. And in those moments, I didn't need to rely on faith to believe in the invisible guy in the sky, because I knew with absolute certainty that what I was seeing on stage at that moment was absolutely divine. My friends go to spiritual retreats and read books about spirituality, hoping to reach enlightenment. Not me. I spend my quiet moments hoping and yearning that I can dig deep and mine the darkness in my soul, enough so to be privy to a visitation by the old gypsy spirit one day. from my dream back at the Templeton, I realized that my friends were now discussing the difficulty with securing cheap rental units in Vancouver. I don't think I converted anybody's soul that night. I must be a bad preacher. I will try to develop a better sermon.